Yeah, I'm excited about the start of fall camp. It's been a great summer so far. Our guys got bigger, faster, and stronger, and became closer as a whole football team. And it was much needed, especially with the transfers that we brought in at the spring. But overall, this last 7, 8 months has been a sprint for sure. And today is check in for fall camp, and really excited to get to work with these guys. So with that, I'll open it up with any questions and we'll go from there.
All right, we'll start off. Greg Woods, go ahead, Greg.
Wow, didn't even raise my hand. Thanks, Bill. Jimmy, are you guys planning? I know back in the spring you said the job was not going to be Zevi's just, automatically. Are you guys planning to hold like a kind of like a formal 2B kind of competition, or what's that going to kind of look like with those four guys in the room?
Yeah, I think the play on the field throughout fall camp will determine the starter. So as of right now, how we practice, the first 3 practices will be split with half the team going to one, while the other half is either lifting or doing some form of recovery on the next day. If we can get to the 3rd practice with limited injuries, we'll stick with that plan. Plan is really to just try to give the split practices, give quarterbacks an opportunity to lead and to have a voice of their own without another person there to where they feel like it's combative. And I think at the quarterback position, it's really important to have a voice of one and people to believe in you. And so the system of how we practice will present itself that way. And then when we get inside of full team practices, majority of all team reps outside of 7-on-7 or Skelly is double repped anyway. So there is going to be a competition. They're going to get graded daily, and they're going to be pushed on the things to improve on. And the best player will play and will be the starter. When I determine that, it's up in the air. I got to see how these guys progress before we claim anybody anything. And I would say that's for every position. That's just not at quarterback.
Next question, Sam Taylor. Go ahead, Sam.
Thanks. A lot's been made about the roster limits now with the House settlement. Other coaches have said that some of those roster spots are kind of grandfathered in, so they don't have to cut exactly down to 105. What's your approach to the roster limit? I believe it's currently at 117. And is there a number you have to cut to, or is 117? Could you go roll with those 117 guys come August 30th?
Well, we have enough grandfathered in players to be at 120 for the next 5 years. So we plan to do that. I can't help attrition happening or guys falling out of love for football, but this is a unique year, and I've tried to handle it the best with what is a lot of uncertainty in college football and trying to protect the team, but also protect the health of the team. And I do believe in being able to double rep at practice. And once you start to cut to 105, you somewhat lose that ability just due to injuries and number of bodies that you have that are healthy. So right now we got really one guy that's limited. That's really going to be out for a couple weeks here during camp. The rest of them are healthy. With the 3 guys I believe are going to be on a real limited pitch count, and we're going to proceed with that number. So I'm excited about what was all the rule changes and all the uncertainty, kind of how it came about, because it allowed us to do kind of what allows us to have success, which is the preparation part of how we practice.
Next question, Jamie Vinnick. Go ahead, Jamie.
Coach, you just mentioned a couple of guys will be out for parts of fall camp. Who's going to be kind of limited and banged up for fall and going on?
Yeah, Javon Clark he's just going to probably be week to week. He'll be out probably this first week. He's got some stuff going on with his back. And then Mike Sanjo will be out a couple weeks, but we're expecting him for the first game. So he'll be making a return here throughout camp at some point. But we got to do what's best for Mike and make sure that he's 100% healthy to continue a season, because of what we feel about him and what he could do for us. We feel he'll make an impact this fall for us in his last year. And we got to make sure that we protect, the ultimate goal, which is winning football games.
All right, as a reminder, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. Next question, Sam Taylor. Go ahead, Sam.
When it comes to splitting the roster into two for these next 3 days, what was the rationale behind that split? Obviously, you wanted to get, different quarterbacks in different position in different blocks, but what goes into what who comprises each squad, and what was the rationale behind that?
There's not a deep reason behind who is in which practice. There is a reason behind why we do it, because you multiply rep count of individual drills and you multiply the amount of reps that each individual will take. So in a typical practice with a whole team there, you're looking at probably a third less reps that an individual takes throughout a segment because you have the whole team there. But when you split the team in half and you practice for less time, the players get what they need as far as taking adequate amount of reps during Indy, and then usually they duplicate the amount of team reps that they'll take, which allows them to grow faster.
All right, next question, Jamie Vinnick. Go ahead, Jamie.
Coach, you mentioned that the first 3 days you'll do kind of the split practices, and then if you avoid injuries, go from there. Are you saying that if that's the case, you'll keep doing the split practices after the first 3 days?
No, it's just trying to get through 3 days. Anything can happen with the split practices with soft tissue or multiple ankle injuries or certain things. So there's a backup plan if the third practice doesn't equate with enough numbers to operate and function and get the most out of the day. We'll go to what we're going to go to on the fourth day. So once we hit the fourth day, we're kind of into a typical fall camp routine where the whole team is together and they'll either lift on a day or they'll non-lift on a day. And then there's certain segments in practice or in the fall camp to where we give our guys stack days, not technically off, but off physically, which I think is really important to get their bodies back and to attack the next week at full speed and feel good about how they feel.
All right, next question, Greg Woods. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, I just wanted to ask about the offensive line. You guys added in the spring a couple of transfers with Jalen Caldwell and I'm drawing a blank. AJ Vaipulu. Hope I'm saying his name right. What are you hoping to get out of that unit just, over these next couple of weeks, and what role will those two guys play for you guys?
And Sone. Yeah,
Oh, it's Sone, right.
Well, we brought them in for a reason to try to see if they can impact the team. There's going to be competition at every position, and these guys have an opportunity to learn. They've been doing player-led practices and player-led walkthroughs all summer. And with that, they've had the ability to kind of digest the offense at a slower pace. And now we're on that next second phase for them where we're installing it all again from day one, scratch teaching and allowing these guys to compete for a starting position. So I think both AJ, Jalen, they're going to push that top group, which is what we thought that they could do for us. And hopefully they can push themselves into somewhat of a rotation at the O-line position. I feel good about the guys that stuck with us and our returners, regardless if we are penciled, if they're penciled in as a starter, they have value, and we feel good about their progress of what they've done in the last, 8 months with us.
Okay, next question, Andrew Quinn. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Coach, as you kind of look at the team coming back from summer workouts, is there anyone that's kind of stuck out to you about, maybe the work they put in or any of the things you and your coaching staff maybe asked them to do that you feel like they're in a really good spot right now heading into the fall?
Well, I would say a couple of those transfers that you just mentioned, AJ, Jalen, just getting in shape. They've made huge improvements. Johnny Lester looks great right now. It's the biggest he's probably been since he's been here. He's been 300 the whole summer. Ashton Tripp looks great. Rock Dew and Hillborn, I feel like are vets and know how to take care of their body and know what is needed. One guy that stands out offensively right away is just Meredith. He has noticeably gotten faster from spring, from my time here. And I think he feels faster. So if he can add with a group of guys that I do believe have solid position group of top end speed, he's maybe the most productive returning offensive player that we have. statistically. I think it fares well on his behalf. So I'm excited for him. He's worked extremely hard. He's bought into us. He's been through many coaches changes. So to hear it one more time, a different regime talk about what they think is important, after a while, I think that gets hard for a player, especially when it's your senior year, and he stayed here for a reason, and we're trying to deliver our best to him to make sure that it was worth it.
Next question, Sam Taylor. Go ahead, Sam.
Coach, do you have certain goals for each week of fall camp what would those goals be? And specifically, after these first 3 days, what do you want to have seen from your team? What do you want to have achieved?
Yeah, I think it's our team goals have no result based to them. They're more things that you can live by on a day to day. One of those is that you come into the building every day with elite focus, which is having precise clarity with your intentions in everything that you do, from the meeting to when we step on the field and do indie, to walk through settings, to the team segments, that everybody is locked in. The other part of that is eliminating the outside distraction because of how many things get written about our players, either that they're the world's greatest or the world's worst. So none of those things matter. I think it's really important to embrace the uncomfortableness of what fall camp will bring to you on a day-to-day grind. You kind of start to callous your brain for what is to come throughout a season. Create an edge, which has everything to do with their mental makeup of being a competitor, to the urgency in which they want to compete, to finishing with physicality, staying united as one, has everything to do with being a voice of one and not get into point the finger game, which I think at times every team goes through in some capacity because nobody wants to be wrong. And so a voice of one is one heartbeat and one mission. And none of us at any point, regardless of how we're doing, lose sight of the most important part, which is the team. And then big thing for me in my life has always been to finish what you start and do it the best of your ability. And I'm excited about what this team can do because there's a lot of, although maybe not a lot of names that are known, the players are going to have an opportunity to make their name known by this fall and then throughout the season.
All right, next question, Smith Sly. Go ahead, Smith.
Hey, Coach. I was wondering, so this is your first year with the Cougar program. I was wondering if there was maybe one thing from the previous coaching staff, the philosophy-wise or approach-wise, that you were thinking of bringing forward into your time here, and then maybe that there's one thing that maybe from that coaching staff that you're trying to work on, fix, amend, or something like that.
Well, I'm not sure if you know the staff, but the staff I just brought is the same staff. So we're all on one page. We've been doing this together for years. Some of these guys I've coached, some of these guys I've been with for, I've known Jesse Bobbitt since he was a player in 2012. So now he's our D coordinator. There's a lot of reasons why I brought the staff. It's because of that. They know what's expected of them. They know how to push their players. I think everything starts with what you focus on and how you finish. And those things will probably never change as long as I'm the head coach. I'm not one to have a bunch of cliche, wordy, grabby things to change year to year. I'm a really simple person that tries to work hard and do my best. And our staff will do the same thing to give our best to the players.
Next question, Jamie Vinnick. Go ahead, Jamie.
Coach, obviously you haven't gotten a full look at some of the new freshmen on the field, just in terms of the actual drills and a full practice, but from maybe even just kind of seeing them around campus and seeing them in some of the player led and the individual type drills they're doing. Are there any guys that, just based off the look and maybe based off even what you were seeing on film in high school, could conceivably play an early role or really compete for a spot right away?
Yeah, there's just a lot that goes into being able to play and not drop a beat from the guy that's experienced, the guy that has years behind his belt. But I would say Sullivan Schlimgen is extremely intelligent for his age and doesn't make, he just kind of reciprocates information back to you and understands at a really high level, has great speed. I mean, I think he was a 10.8 100-meter kid and he's 225 pounds. So He can really run. He's physical. I know that just of watching him live and having him at our camp. Trillian Sorrell is another kid that has gained weight, has taken the off season really serious, and you could tell just how his body's transformed. I was able to see him live. I think with the transformation just in his overall size and strength, he's intelligent enough to impact us. In what capacity, it's going to be dependent on how fall camp shakes.
Have time for a few more questions. Austin Getz, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Not to put so much on the first day of on-field stuff, but what, in your opinion, is the key to getting off to a good start, and how important do you view these two practices, I guess I should say, tomorrow to kind of set the tone for fall camp?
Yeah, I think organization and communication is huge. Our guys have been repping a lot of our base install for what is now 8 months, 7 months. So they're familiar with it. The freshmen are new, obviously. The transfers are new to it. They didn't get the spring ball, but I think making sure that we have urgency inside of practice to make the most of what is a shorter practice because the team is split in half. And then being able to vocalize your thoughts and communicate with the guy next to you. I think every play starts and ends with communication. You're having a conversation with the guy next to you to play with him. You got to use them, and everybody's got to be on the same page. So every year there's a heightened sense of awareness, heightened sense of anxiety that comes with the first day of everything. First day of pads, or first day of practice, and the first day of pads will create its own sense of urgency. And so trying to get the guys to calm down and still operate and communicate no different than they would on any other setting.
Greg Woods, go ahead, Greg.
Hey, just wanted to confirm that Angel Johnson is healthy, and then also Dylan Payne, how's his knee doing?
They're both healthy. They
Okay.
both look great, and they'll be rolling.
Okay. And then outside of that, I was just wondering, like, with your three safeties coming over from South Dakota State with Tucker, Matt, and then Kale, how much are you asking from them in terms of leadership and kind of pointing the rest of the team and kind of in the right direction?
I think that they know what it takes to win. They don't want to lose, and so they're going to do everything that they can to make sure that this last year is something to remember. And they've done a great job with teaching the youth of our team, and Kyle Peterson, who's going to be a good player for us at the safety position, has taken a lot from Tucker and Kale and Matt. So I think when you have experience in a scheme, which those guys do in this one. There's a little bit of comfortability in listening to them and listening to that mentorship because they've known what it takes to play and all the nuances. Some of these guys, you got to remember, we spent COVID with them. I remember COVID meeting on Zoom with Caleb Francel. Ask him about that. It's probably one nightmare of his life that we would meet constantly. So these guys have heard it for years. Things have evolved and changed since the COVID years, but to ability to be a part of something at the infant stages of growing something really special, I think that they've been able to adapt over the years and be able to adjust to the nuances inside of it.
Next question, Andrew Quinn. Go ahead, Andrew.
Coach, obviously with Zevi going through another tight competition last year with John, what do you think his mentality is heading into this fall camp competition? And then can you just give a brief 1 or 2 tidbits on Johnny and Julian that stuck out about those guys that made you want to bring them in?
You know what? Zevi's a competitor. I don't know if you'd expect anything less. I think bringing in the 2 transfers, if not, just tells them that, and everybody makes a big deal about the transfer situation. Like Zevi knew this when we talked to him about coming out of the portal. Just based off of a returner coming back, and there was a need for competition in the room, and the guy that kind of really pushed in the spring was Jackson Potter. Showed up a lot, and so we talk a lot about the other 2 transfers, but Jackson Potter has done a good job too. But adding a Johnny, I think Johnny has great demeanor. He has great confidence in his own ability. He works his tail off, man. This guy's always in the building, very similar to Zevi. And then Julian Duggar is extremely talented. But watching all of those guys, they all have the ability to run and make something of nothing when they're passing the ball. And they're also athletic enough to, run quarterback runs and understand it. But they're all talented, had the ability to, from a distance, watch them throw the ball around and just play catch. And I feel good about what we have. We just got to get them to understand the offense and play together. Nothing is more important than the team, though. It's about leadership and it's about people believing in you and feeling like they can win every game with whoever's taking the snap. So could there be a role for multiple quarterbacks? We'll address that if that's the case. But right now, those guys are all working extremely hard to master their craft to be the best teammate that they can be.
Jamie Vinnick, go ahead, Jamie.
Coach, was the split practice something you used at South Dakota State, or is this the first time that you've done it?
No, I use it at South Dakota State.
Okay, and final question, Sam Taylor, go ahead, Sam.
Coach, obviously you've been in the building with these guys, you've been, doing the work, but as you kind of embark on this next chapter of the season, where's your head at? What are the nerves? What are you most excited for? What are you going to be thinking about when you go to bed tonight?
I kind of live day to day, honestly. I try to look out as much as possible, but I don't get caught up in outside opinions of what people think that we're going to be. If anything, I'm one of those people that, although I see it, it does motivate me. The negative connotation about what we're going to be or what our record will be. I see those things. Does it impact me? If anything, it just motivates me. I'm more worried about the organization, that everybody's on the same page, so that way the kids can believe in having a voice of one, because there is no miscommunication or misunderstanding about anything or about what we're expecting out of them on a day-to-day. It's all I care about right now. We'll be what we put together, and it takes everybody to do that. It's not just one person. Everybody's going to buy in, and there's no job too small for anybody, myself included.